Yo, it's a Sugarshack. Sit back, relax, cause it's time for another podcast.
What's up, everybody? This is Bryce, host of the Sugarshack podcast. We're super excited. Today, we are sitting down with Nahko. Let's go, everybody. Come on, give it up for Nahko.
Let's go.
Of course, right next to me, I've got Eddie Kopp, founder and director of Sugarshack music channel. Let's go, baby. We just wrapped up an epic session with Nahko. How you feeling, man? How you feeling about it?
I'm lit. No, no, I feel really good. Yeah, that was really special. Half of those songs I haven't played live before, so it was cool. It was a little nerve-wracking because there's so many talented people here, and the vibe is high, but I felt good. Yeah.
I think it was like, what was it, the song Enough? You were like, that's the first time I've ever played that in front of people.
Yeah, in front of people like that, yeah.
Yeah. It went well. It went amazing, dude. I mean, we were all out here just like...
Well, I've been waiting to come here for a long time, so
Yeah.
to get... It was very surreal. Felt like quite a bit of a dream. You know, I'm like in there. I'm like, oh, I've been thinking about this for a long time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So there's just a lot of full circle feelings, not only in like the songs, you know, but also just the presence of being here in this very special place.
That's so cool, man. Yeah, like, I'm curious to know, like, you've imagined yourself here, like, what was different? What was the same? Like, what was it?
I was wearing
like,
clothes.
Right? Your stress dreams is like wake up performing naked at Sugarshack.
Well, it was very relieving, actually. I was like, oh, thank God. It's very strange.
No, like, what were the things that, like met your expectations? Or what were things you're like, oh, that's different, or I didn't think it'd be that way? Or
honestly, I think it's the camaraderie. You know, that every one of y'all... Since the first time I met everybody, it's been full stoke, full on all the time.
It's true.
Never wavering. And that kind of like, yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
Can I get a slap?
Yeah,
right there?
give him.
Thanks. I'm in it. All right, cool.
That's right.
Part of the club? All right, sick, yeah. But yeah, it's just unwavering love, support, and stoke. Like, you know, I'm a human being. I have my own insecurities about even just like what I'm playing, right? A simple little tune on a guitar. It means something to me, you know, and to play it in a space where so many amazing artists have come to perform, you know, you want to show up and do your best job.
Right.
Yeah.
And I feel like I did that.
You did just that.
You nailed it.
You nailed that shit. Come on.
Nailed it.
Give it up. Let's go.
That's right.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. I'm Daria.
I'd just love to hear your story as a musician a little bit. I mean, I know you've told it in spaces, but just give people here, you know, kind of like little context. Like, how did you start as a musician? Like, take us back to the beginning just a little bit.
Sure, yeah. I started playing piano when I was 6 years old.
Wow, yeah.
And I think, like most children, when they begin to play an instrument, it can feel, when you're that young, can feel like it's homework, you know, especially when your parents are like, practice 2 hours a day, you know, and it wasn't until later that I would thank them for that kind of like persistence, you know. But I remember from playing like very structured, very like, you know, very structured kind of music, you know, from classical music to jazz, like playing piano in that space. Like I wanted to break free of that construct, and I wanted to just freestyle and like make stuff up. And so I grew up in a very Christian household, so I went to church like 3 days a week. And I remember I still have this book of songs that I would write during the sermon, and I had to remember what the sermon was about because I knew that there'd be like a questionnaire on the way home from my parents. And so I learned to task, you know, half listening to what the preacher was saying and then like half like writing a song in my notes. But I have all those songs very organized and shit. Like, yeah, it's
to this day.
Yeah, straight up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, they're terrible.
Have you ever
they're
drawn
terrible.
on any of those? No, you're saying they're terrible.
No, they're terrible songs.
6
Yeah.
years old.
The first song I remember I wrote was about a date that I went on. Don't tell my parents, because I wasn't really allowed to do that kind of stuff. But it was a date to us, and we went to go get a coffee at a coffee shop, and she got a raspberry Italian soda, and I wrote a song about it. My first time writing that song. Wow. Yeah, it was a terrible song.
Is it called Raspberry
Charm?
It was called Charm.
Yeah.
Sounds like a banger. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah. Oh,
know.
no, it's number one in my book, but but it's the only book there is. So.
Yeah.
That's cool though.
Yeah. So that was kind of the beginning, and like I can look back on those sort of like humble beginnings of like, oh, that was cute. I was writing songs in church. And I was supposed to pay attention, and then it moved into like as a teenager, really enjoying writing songs, but picked up the guitar when I was 14. My mother was so kind. Because I brought the guitar home. It was an electric guitar. It wasn't just an acoustic guitar. It was a big F-hole red jazz electric guitar. Oh, cool. And my friend gave me a small Marshall stack to come with it. And my mom was so kind. I mean, I played it terribly in my bedroom, and she let me like be super loud and stuff. And but yeah, so those were kind of like the first two instruments and the ones that stuck with me through that period. And it wasn't until maybe I was 17 when I left home, and I followed a path of like I was before I left home I was hiring myself out to local high schools to play piano for their musicals, and so I was very much like a theater kid in that sense, and then I got a job in Alaska when I was 18 years old, performing for a dinner theater for the summer. And that was like a transformative time for me as an 18-year-old leaving home for the first time and discovering that you should eat the whole bag of mushrooms.
Yeah.
And when I did that, I got charged by a moose.
For real?
Yeah, everybody here is like, oh, shit.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, you heard that story? Yeah. I don't recommend it.
You got charged by a moose?
Oh, yes.
So what, you ate, so what, you, how much, so
it was
you
the
ate
first time I
shit
kind of
ton
peed my pants a
mushrooms,
little bit, yeah.
And what, you were just out in the woods or?
Well, I asked my friend, I was like, well, how much do I eat? And he was like, oh, you should eat the whole bag. And, so I ate the whole bag. And then it started to rain, and I thought God was crying. And then I was kind of stressing, and he's like, you should just get on your bicycle and ride into the national forest.
Oh,
and I said, that sounds like a great idea. But as I'm riding my bicycle, I felt like I was flying, you know?
Yeah.
I was like, I could hear every single little bug flying by me. But I felt like they were talking to me. They were like, hello, and good luck, and then and like, oh my God. And then I got to the inside of the forest, and I was riding in the forest, and there was this old lady that up on the path there. And
like real or?
No, she was real.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah,
I mean.
Yeah, and she's like, do moose attack? And I said, I don't know. And then I looked up the trail, and there was a moose there.
Holy shit.
And it charged?
And then it was really mad that we were like in her space.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, and then she ran down the hill at both of us. And I looked at her, and she looked at me, and like all of our lives flashed before our eyes, There was nowhere to run. The spruce tree's like that big, like you can't go anywhere.
Wow.
So it ran, and then it got to like maybe 12, 15 feet in front of us, and then she like did that snowboard turn. What is that called?
I don't know.
It's called a skirt. Yeah, a skirt. In fact, I'm pretty sure she was like, skirt, and then all the dust and stuff came up in our faces, and a little bit of pee. A little pee.
I'm sure.
Came down my leg. It was serious.
sure.
It was serious business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were
So,
like, oh
music.
my God, I'm tripping.
Yeah.
No, I was. I was like very,
Right.
I was like extremely, I was like, whoa, this is not normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And, then I wrote a bunch of cool songs. I don't know.
Yeah. Right. Bringing it all back. But like, I remember you showing me like a video. The first video you showed me of Nahko that I was introduced to your music what was the video of him in the truck on the back?
Yeah, that's the song. That's the song in the video that introduced me to you.
Okay, yeah. Black as Night, yeah.
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 Yeah, and my old little beat up truck.
Yeah, with Grototo, right?
Yep.
Yep. And I remember seeing that video, and I watched it from beginning to end, and it's like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
It was a one take. It was one take, right?
It was a one take. Shout out to Dom.
Yeah.
As you guys know, as filmmakers and, creating a safe space for music to organically, be shown.
Right.
He did that for me where, I remember that day. It was like we'd done a show the night before. I was exhausted. I had a big zit on my forehead. And he's like, dude, just get in the truck. Let's play the track.
And you did.
And so I played it. My guitar was out of tune. The whole deal, and it became a favorite song of a lot of people. And,
I had never seen anything like it. You know, I was so captivated by that.
I
video.
see how it's inspired a lot of your like one take style
100%,
and stuff. Like I
100%.
see a lot of
Yeah.
your
Yeah, he kind of
stylistics.
ducked behind the truck at first, and he's like rolling it up,
Exactly.
and like
Yeah, really
panning,
cool
and like yeah.
And then we got to work with Grow at Red Rocks.
Yeah,
with
yeah,
you, and
yeah,
it
we
was
did.
like, dude,
was so
what year
cool.
was that?
2019.
Was
June.
that?
Yeah.
But what year was that video come out?
Oh my goodness, that was. Yeah, I don't know, maybe 2009,
It was- it's
2010,
old.
maybe. Yeah.
That inspired
Yeah.
a lot for all.
I
Sugarshack.
recreated that set,
Mm.
like 10, 12, 15 years into the current moment with
Wow.
when I did the EP Beautiful Trouble,
Mm.
and the song Feelings, and when I did the acoustic version, I took my current truck, parked it in a cool place
Right.
in the Mount Hood National Forest, and played the song acoustic in the back of the truck.
Cool.
Like that, just sort of like a nod to
Right.
Yeah.
to that old OG
Yeah.
vibe. Yeah.
It's so sick. So from
amazing.
there, you just continued writing and developing. I mean, you kind of had like a kind of windy road, right?
Yeah, I
On
didn't.
your
I
journey?
didn't. I didn't think that. I never thought of music as a career. I kind of just thought it was a hobby. You know, I was enjoying just kind of doing.
What were
it on
you
the
doing
side.
for work, money?
Who fucking knows? I was. I was like after I was in Alaska at 18. I found out about the program WOOF. Is anybody familiar with that? The Willing Workers on Organic Farms.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, that sounds cool.
Woofing.
Yeah, woofing. And I bought a ticket to Hawaii and to Big Island, and I thought I'd be there for like a month, and I ended up staying for 7 years.
Wow.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Where are you from originally?
Oregon.
Oregon.
Yeah, Cascadia. Yeah, so I getting to Big Island was like very transformative for me, and I thought I'd be a farmer for many years there. I loved permaculture. I loved farming. I loved animal husbandry. I worked on ranches and working with horses and sheep and cows and stuff, and like it was fun. It was a really great lifestyle, and on the side I was writing songs, and like in fact Aloha Keakua I wrote because we all got the message on our phone saying that there was a missile alert from North Korea.
I remember that.
Remember that shit?
I remember that happened.
Yeah.
Well-
And it was like blowing up, and we were, they aimed the missiles at us and everything.
Yep.
And I remember calling my mom that day and being like, yo, it's about to go down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
And I was like, it's been a good run. But when you're struck with that moment of like, mortality and you go like, damn, what are the things I want to say to the people I love,
Right.
in those moments. And what came from that feeling was the song Aloha Keakua. And
I didn't know that.
yeah, there's so many like different times on that island, like so many things that had happened that brought some of the most favorite songs our fans to
Right.
into fruition. And so I hold Big Island very dear to my heart and my story.
No, that's awesome.
But after I was there, like I started to realize that like I could do music for real.
Yeah. There you go.
When did you
I
make
was
that
like-
decision where you're like, all right, I'm going to commit more to this and really start putting some effort
When you
behind
ask me
this?
that question, the first memory that comes up is doing a coffee shop tour, because those are real guys.
Mm-hmm.
Some coffee shops along the way, and you're like, that one's fire, that one's tight, that one's all they got is milk.
Yeah.
And I remember the first show of the coffee shop tour was doing a show on our own. We booked the Wonder Ballroom in Portland, Oregon. I think it's like an 800 cap room. And we booked that, and we had some help with promotion from some friends. I went around town putting the posters up and stuff. We screen printed all our shirts and stuff. You know,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like, it's
Oh,
just
yeah.
what you did.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah.
I was like on the computer burning CDs like all day,
Oh yeah.
and and we
Putting
had
the
some-
labels on.
Oh
Get the
yeah.
labels on,
And if you don't got labels, you just write on it, and
Yeah,
like, you
that's
put it in the
true.
the rainbow cases. Remember
Yeah.
those?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I still got like 10 of those at least. But I remember we sold that shit out,
Wow.
which was crazy. We were
Sick.
like, oh wow, like 800 people on
a
our
lot.
own. Yeah, this was like 2011, I think, actually, or 2012 or something. And we recorded that show, and then I sent it out to some friends, and some friends knew Fronte's person, like a person in his team, and she heard it, and she was like, "This is tight," and she sent it to who would then become my first manager, and I had no idea about anything. I didn't know nothing about managers. I didn't know nothing about agents. Like, I didn't even know touring was the word you use for what I'd been doing for a while already, which was drive your van around and play shows. Because I just had, my homies and dogs, surfboards, one random kayak, and a beat up old Peugeot.
Ooh,
Nice.
Still got it.
nice.
For real?
Yeah, I take it off jumps every day.
Wow.
No, I don't actually. But, but it came, from that lifestyle of like I meet young artists all the time that are like, trying to get on the train, and I think of like my own beginnings, and I go like, wow, I just was freestyling it, and then I had to kind of like straighten up and go like, oh, this is a thing, okay,
Right.
know, yeah, it was a bit of a shock to the system,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. And so that brings you kind of like going forward. You guys ended up working it. Like, when was the first time you reached out, or how did that work? How did you guys become friends, and how did you start working on that project?
I think the first time we worked with Nahko was Janice. Was that the bookstore?
Yeah, Janice Live. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first time.
We worked with Live Night Events, who owns Reggae Rise Up. They were doing a concert series at Janice once a month. They hired us to do recaps for every concert once a month. So we were going to Janice, and I think all of them sold out. And
I think so.
There's Nahko sold out. I think it may have even kicked off that concert series.
Yeah, it was kind of my first time in Florida, really.
Yeah.
Though. Like, yeah.
It was. I think it was our first time. No, it was definitely our second time seeing you, because we used to go to your shows.
Start
before
there.
Sugarshack. Yeah, before Sugarshack, we used to.
I
go
didn't
to all
answer
your
the
shows.
DM.
Yeah.
Apparently.
We DM'd him a few times trying to get his attention.
Get him here? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
sick.
it was like year 1, year 2.
Yeah. I love
Just
it, Eddie.
ignored the DMs.
Let's get Nahko.
Yeah.
I probably didn't even know what a DM was.
He's my favorite.
I was like, wait, you get messages? Wow, this is
Yeah,
crazy. What is this app? What's an app?
But yeah, we were shooting that show, and that was early Sugarshack, early, and I was just trying to get any artist I possibly could to set the foundation for the channel. And Nahko, I don't even know how that came to fruition, but you said yes.
Eventually, I said yes.
Yeah. I think it may have been through Vaughn. I think he may have assisted us there. And you did a couple songs acoustic for us in Haslam's bookstore.
That was actually the OG Medicine hat too.
Yeah?
Yeah. I remember. I don't know why I remember my fit, but like I
You
remember
wore
that.
overalls without a shirt on.
Oh my God!
Yeah, I remember that shit too. Just showed up in overalls, no shirt, probably barefoot.
Probably.
Yeah.
Anyways,
You were the coolest ever, bro.
I was chilling. I was like, "What's up?"
I don't think any of that content got released on the
I
channel.
don't think so either. The interview didn't get released either, did it?
I don't think any of that did.
There's still time.
Yeah. And so we did I think we did a song or two. You were just writing Dear Brother.
Yeah, I think I was just writing that, but I don't even think Hoka was out. I think we were about to do Hoka.
I think I used that for the recap. I think I
Yeah.
used that song. Hoka. I think I used that for the recap. I think it was super fresh.
Okay, so maybe it had just come out.
Just
then.
come out, yeah.
So that would have been 2015.
I think we did a one take that night.
Yep.
It's on the channel.
Mhm.
And we did a recap. And then from there, that relationship was established. And then we met in Denver, and we did some of the most beautiful sessions we've ever created together.
That was so special.
Unbelievable.
That room was
studio
incredible.
Yeah, it was in like an event space. Like, I
Yeah.
recommend going to check that out.
And that was like right before the biggest show of my life.
Yeah, and then we
Yeah.
followed you to Red Rocks the next
Yeah.
day or something.
Yep. Yeah, literally.
Wow.
Yeah, that was such a vibe with the carpets and the room and the candles and stuff.
Yeah.
And you guys were in your outfits.
Yeah.
Remember your outfits?
Your outfit.
We were Media Team Chiefs.
Media Team
We're wearing them today.
You know that dress you had on. and stuff. It
But
looked
yeah,
really
we
good.
followed you to Red Rocks the next day, and we did
Yeah.
the whole documentary, and
Yes.
it was all part of that.
Which all you listeners out there, listen here.
Yes.
There's a really amazing documentary that is still yet to be released. And one of these days, yes, it will arrive. So watch out. Back to the show.
Yeah, it's the most
It's a
proud
good-
I've ever been of anything
It's a
Sugar
good
Shack
piece. I've
Yeah.
has
I've
ever
watched
created.
it.
It's
Yeah.
still like
Yeah.
to this
Honestly, I feel like the longer we've held on to it,
day. Yeah.
the most appropriate time will arrive to let the world see
I agree.
the work you guys did to create a story that we were telling through music. You did through film and interviews. Yeah, it's a really
Sick.
powerful piece. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so awesome.
It's beautiful.
And now, dude, you've got new music coming out, and we're
Yeah.
really excited about what you've been dropping. And
Great transition. I love that.
Yeah,
That's
you know,
good, yeah.
we're
He's
just
good at
flowing,
this.
I
bro.
see.
I've
He's
done
good
a
at
few
this.
of them, I think.
Anyways, so glad we had this talk.
Yeah, no, I mean, really, I mean, you've got new music coming out that you've been dropping a new direction. You've got things that
Yeah.
you want to say. You've been through a lot, even since that day that you guys were recording. Was that 2019, 2020, maybe right before the
Something
No, it was
Yeah.
2019. My Uncle Dave will
2019.
say it every time he comes over to my house. Sorry to interrupt you. I just was like,
Yeah.
I think, shout out to Uncle Dave. He'll always say, with tears in his eyes, I think you met Uncle Dave.
I think I did.
Yeah, he'll say with tears in his eyes, he'll say, 2019, Red Rocks. It's the best show I've ever seen.
It was.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and this dude has seen some shows.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was an amazing show.
Yeah, it really was.
It
It
was
was a
surreal.
very big moment for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, for all the artists that were involved in that
Yeah.
night. It was
That's
an incredible
got to be an
moment.
incredible venue to play.
And also for the fans, they got to witness that kind
Yeah.
of coming together. Trevor and Chutescott and like all y'all being there. Dom was there, like Uncle Doug, Antipua, like everybody was there. It was like a dream come true.
Was your
Wow.
mother there too?
My moms weren't there on that one. No.
No?
But Antipua is kind of like a mom to
Okay,
me.
okay,
so,
that's what
yeah.
I'm thinking.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Got it. Got it.
All right, continue. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I was just saying that, you know, a lot's happened even since then and between then and now for
Life,
you. And
yeah.
I know that a lot of the new music that you're writing and releasing right now has to do with processing some of the last few years and what you've been through. And so I'd like to talk a little bit more about that, but I'd love to hear just maybe a little excerpt. I think we were talking about your new song, Trenches.
Yeah.
And I'd love to hear a little bit of it. And there's a line in there that I want to talk about after, but I
Oh,
think,
can't wait. Why don't you do it right now?
Yeah, right.
What's up?
Just
Do it.
Do it right now.
What's the line?
What's the line is I survived that woke shit.
Ah, here we
Yeah.
go.
That's the one that
Nice.
stood out to me out of
Me
all
too.
of them,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. And so, you know, obviously there's been a lot of conversation around things. And so I'd like to hear from you, you know, what does that line from that song represent for you and where did that come from?
It means I got canceled, but I also am renewing my subscription.
Come on. Let's go.
And I say that with tears behind my eyes. You can't see it, but they're there.
Yeah.
And you know, yeah, that line was a surprise, I suppose. I had the beginning part of the chorus already, and I was trying to figure out how to close the sentence, you know. And I want to, you know, when you're writing a chorus, you really want the final line to either, you can leave it open or you can close it, or you can kind of create a question mark there. But I wanted to close it with something. I wasn't sure quite what. And I was kind of messing around, and my producer, Adam, after I finished one take, he said, "Hey, did you say you survived that woke shit?" Because I was kind of saying something similar, but it was unclear. And I said, I kind of laughed, and I said, "No, but that's hilarious." And I said, well, if there's anything I like a little bit of irony, and I like a little humor in there to lighten the mood
Right.
to some serious shit, you know?
Yeah. Which you do so well. I mean,
Thanks.
even in the new stuff, there's like, your songs have got, the new songs specifically, and hearing them so stripped down, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's like, there's some really cool songwriting that you're doing, really
Thank you.
eclectic, where it starts one way and it's got a vibe, and then by the end of it, I'm like, we're listening to a totally different song now. Like, it's a totally different journey.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it is.
It's really, really cool, man.
Thank you.
I really do like it a lot.
Thanks. Thank
Yeah.
you so much. Yeah, but with that line, it's like, you know, with woke culture, I've wondered how I was going to say this for fucking ever. I will say that I think that there's so much truth to saying the worse before better moment, right? And I think it's very important on the one spectrum to be politically conscious and aware of racial prejudice and discrimination. However, where the whole thing has like come to, it's just so ironic. The irony of movement to who essentially is using like the same tools of the oppressor to marginalize people, displace them, and dispose of them, essentially. It's so reminiscent of our carceral system, of the punitive culture that we live in, to silence people in a way and tell everybody else, throw them out, you know.
Right.
It's ironic, you know.
Totally.
And so I really wanted to like frame that in a way and frame the irony in by writing a song about it, you know. And the chorus essentially says like, yo, I've been working on my flaws, my behaviors, my patterns, my humanness before you made it a headline, you know. And to overcome something, to have the courage to go into a work and not even, and that's the other irony of it too, is like not the work that they say you got to be doing, because all of a sudden they're telling you what you should be doing for your accountability work, for your repair work. And you listen to what they're saying and you got to kind of drown it out. And that takes some time because you're going through all the processes of grief and of shame and of then it's like it hurts and then betrayal and then like you got to, and it takes time. And I went, yeah, I found out that rock bottom has, it has no rocks. There's no rocks there, guys. There's also no bottom. And you're kind of like falling and you're like, oh my God, this again, but different. What? And you're like, is there a bottom? And then you're like listening and no one answers. And so you're falling and falling, and then you're like, oh, there's a wall. And then you grab onto it, you know, and you start climbing up it. But it takes some fucking time and some serious patience, and it takes real solid people around you who are willing to tell you, fuck that shit.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Don't do that. But you did that. Maybe you weren't what they were saying, but you got work to do.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And taking your own responsibility for things. It's like
200%.
we're all human. We all make mistakes, and
Yeah.
up front taking responsibility for it. And yeah, man.
But it's fascinating to me, like, in the world we live in nowadays, I mean, it was already something that was already happening, but, you know, we've experienced it now in this, like, new era, right before the pandemic and as we've come out of it now. What is true? What is the truth? And we are in this consistent fight for the truth and for and moving out of a space where social media doesn't control us, right? Or, you know, creates a whole section of performative people who are sort of performing for an audience that doesn't really exist in real life.
Right.
And so we've lost that community connection, which is why what you're doing here is actually very important because you're bringing it back to this face-to-face conversation.
Real life.
Real community experience. You've got your neighbors here. You've got people who are just living on the road and just down the street who are new to the artists that you're bringing here. The artists that are sharing their stories, like myself. Like, that to me is real progression, you know, and progressive. But on a bigger scale, we seem to have lost that, like, connection to the humanness of our experiences. ... Parentheses.
For sure. Can you play a little bit? I know you did it for a session, but can you just play an excerpt of that?
Yeah.
Like the chorus maybe
You
of
missed
Trenches?
it. It just happened. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Right. You got it. Yep.
It's a puzzle. Oh. Can somebody do me a fave? In the guitar case is a cute little capo. His name is Kevin.
Kevin. Kevin the Capo.
The capo.
You like to name things.
I know.
You're a namer.
Yeah.
Okay, so hold on. Get in the mic really quick and tell me why you're a namer. Like, what did this come from? So you got
that's funny.
Kevin the Capo.
Yeah.
We're
You also
namers, too.
named. You also named. What was it that you had on his vocal cord? His polyp on his
Yeah,
vocal
the
cord?
polyp that I had surgically
Was
removed in
named-
2020. His name was Hank.
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 Well, because Hank, sounded like, how y'all doing? Y'all right?
Real deep and
Yeah, well, we're just out
Hank,
here having
yeah.
a good time, having a couple
Yeah,
beers.
real
you know.
hanky, yeah.
That there Nahko guy's about to play a song.
So okay, so how did Kevin get his name?
Kevin the Capo?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just named him.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
That's a nice ring to it.
Yeah. Well, Kevin's my go-to name for most things.
Okay. Nice.
I'm so glad we had this talk.
I was curious. You want me to help you get this?
We're okay. Quiet on the set. I always wanted to say that.
Critical thinking, look at who's drinking up that propaganda. Make an example, how do I handle? Yeah, the pressure. Suckers and roaches, most of them hopeless, all of them vultures target. What are you smoking? Tell me you're joking. Nobody does it like my shit. Heretics are my favorite. I would say the most dangerous. People with no hope are easy to control. The villain that I never was. Problematic, my magic, my love. And the saddest part is that in their hearts they think they doing God's work. Your knee is on my neck, no disrespect, that ain't how God works. I tried dying, but death had other plans. I died, and then I did it again. Ooh la la la, let me fuck with that spaceship. Staying here could be dangerous, getting high in disorder. Ooh la la la, high marks on justice, woke shit destructive. Getting high in disorder, failed assassination. Shame, the timeless weapon, and pain is a circle. So now you're just as bad as the people you target to pander. Quiet the double standard. Does anybody ever think for themselves? Yeah, I am alive. I was in the trenches before your stories mentioned it, and I have survived. Don't go sleeping on me now. I survived that woke shit.
Yeah.
There's
Love
a
it.
couple inside jokes I'll let you in on.
Yeah.
On a couple of those lyrics.
Yeah.
High mocks. It's not even really a joke, but I was like, what's a term? There's a term for highly manipulative people that it's more than like a gaslighter, et cetera. But the term is called high. I'm probably saying this wrong, but it's like Machiavellian. High mocks, in short. Does anybody understand this? Anybody know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what
All
I'm
right.
talking about when I'm talking about it. I'm like, oh, these very deceptive people. And that's not just even a people. It's like it's a swarm.
Or like a mindset.
It's a mindset. It's a
come over
hive
people,
mind of
yeah.
like, yes, search and destroy. And there's no consequences. That's what blows my mind. Is like the harm that a mob can do online to people's lives with no accountability on their side.
Right.
You know, that's why I was saying it's the same weapons that the oppressor will use. So it's just it's fascinating to me as I've sort of pulled back the skin on it.
But I mean, I commend you for so much bravery. You're moving through it, right? You're like
Now I am, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I have been, but now you're getting to see me in the most mature space, you know, in a space where where I'm so much happier than I've ever been in my life, even before this happened. And I can look back on it and I go, wow, I'm so glad that happened. Wow, thank you. You know, and I can thank people who don't understand me, who feel harmed by me in a way that is irresponsible in a sense. Where I will never. That's the thing is, you know, people will say you need to be accountable for all your wrongdoings, and it's almost. I would love to be accountable for everything I've done in my whole fucking life. You know, but some of us, the dark night of the soul, as you will have many of those in your life. It's a unique experience to do that in front of the whole world, rather than behind closed doors off the social media. Unique is a very interesting word to use for it. It's a unique experience to do it in front of everybody, you know.
Yeah.
Dot, dot, dot.
No, it's amazing though to see you moving through it and like writing songs and processing those emotions and then releasing them. And like, I mean, we've seen the incredible amount of support. You do have like an incredible fan base still that really support you.
Well, look at it right here. This is amazing. Wow.
Hell yeah.
I mean, this means so much to me because this is setting me up for something that I never thought would happen again, which is to tour the States. And my first show's in Denver on Friday.
Let's go.
And this is so,
Come on.
Hell yeah.
it's so incredible. And you know, shout out to Live Night Events and the Reggae Rise Up crew. And like, you know, this is such an incredible experience to start my first tour in 4 years off here with you guys.
Special.
Yeah, very special. It's a huge moment for me. Like I can't even really tell you how important this is for me.
Yeah, that's so awesome, dude. I'm wondering. I've been looking the whole time. What's the tassels around your?
Our friend here.
Oh, okay, cool. I thought it was
Yeah.
like I thought it like what does it resemble something? You just made them for Nahko?
Well, she did, yes. It's her traditional lei
Traditional
from
way.
our
Oh, nice.
Wahine sister over here, and it's made of tea leaves.
Whoa.
Yeah, and it's a very proper welcoming.
I love that.
Yeah, by indigenous folks.
It's made of tea leaves. Can I see
Yeah.
the end of it? Holy moly! Look at this, Ed.
Let me see this.
This is badass.
This is beautiful.
Yeah, boys.
You're like, it's mine. It's mine.
Give it back.
She made it for me.
No, it's always to be shared.
Yeah, no, it's all good, dude. All right, so I don't know. I feel like I want to ask you some goofy questions because
Oh,
you
yeah.
also got a goofy side, right?
oh, it's-
there's
it's most
because
my
y'all
side.
be goofing around. You've been hanging out all day with us, just hanging out, unloading, chilling with us. But I want to know, like, all right, what's your like favorite snack? Do you have like a favorite snack, like
Funyuns.
Funyuns?
Yeah, they're gluten free.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Legit.
Yeah.
Legit Funyuns.
Well, not always. I'm like, you know, I'm a very Aquarius. I just kind of oscillate between many different kinds of snacks. But the real snacksident happens with
Snackcidents.
Yeah.
You were talking about these earlier. I heard about this in passing.
Yeah.
Well,
My
there's
wife
the
sent me something
very
about snackcidents.
yeah. There's a very expensive snacksident, which is like, you know, those honey roasted almonds.
Almonds or something.
They're
yeah.
so expensive, like $15 million. It's
Yeah.
like, what the fuck? I mean, I understand like the water, the almond, the fucking nut,
Yeah.
like the spices and stuff like that. I love those so much.
They're good.
Yeah.
They're fire.
Yeah.
So what snackcident is when you like buy an expensive snack and you don't get full off of it or something? Or
That's a good question.
oh.
It's not really
We
clear.
don't know.
No, a snacksident is like when you have a bunch of snacks and you're like, oh, I'm gonna take it easy on them and I'm gonna let this shit spread out over time.
Oh, I see. You eat
And
the
then
whole
all of a
bag
sudden it's
Funyuns
gone
or
in like an
whatever.
hour and you're
Yeah.
like, Mom buklat. Yeah. My other snacksident is the mint Oreos
Ooh, mint
All right.
Oreos.
all day. Yeah.
Did you have any thoughts or questions?
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
What song means the most to you on Trenches? Because it has such a message from front to back.
Yeah.
What song means the most to you?
Yeah, what stands out? That's a good question.
You know, it was different from the writing process. There was a different kind of favorite. Like I think in the writing process, Trenches was my favorite song. But you know you're making a good album when you get done on the first day. And Adam and I would, every day on the first day of a new song that we'd start, we'd be like, wow, this is my favorite song.
Yeah, cool.
You know?
Yeah.
then it was almost became hilarity because after we would say, "Wow, that's my favorite song," we would then say, just like the last one, like, "Wow, this is a good feeling."
Yeah.
You're doing something special. But live, because I just came back from Europe after a month playing some of those songs, my favorite is opening with Functional. I love Functional, yeah. It really sets the mood. And it sets the tone of introspection. I look back on the catalog of music that I put out, and there's so much like extroverted narrative happening. Sure, I talked about like, how I was born and like the trauma from these things, right? And like this story that I was living by for so long because I was, without saying it, I was trying to figure out, like everybody in this room, who the fuck I was because of where I come from and the world I live in and the community I'm living in and as an artist, and oh my God, I'm on the stage and I'm telling these stories of my life and people are looking at me and thinking these things about me and having experiences and translating the music into their own experience. And it was just a lot, and I felt very ostracized and misunderstood in my own like mind, and so I think that when I look at what I've just created and shared with the world now, it feels like the most like personal kind of story because I looked at like the years in the past, these past 4 years, and I thought, okay, well, the universe is clearly telling me something needs to change, And I took a deep dive, kicking and screaming the whole way, at my behaviors, at my relationships with women, with men, with my fans, with my family, and I had to adjust all of that. And it's still happening. Like it's not like it's done, It's not like I'm sitting in this chair going like, I did the work. Thanks for welcoming me back. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like I did some
journey.
work.
Yeah, right.
And I started to write about it. Thanks for holding space for me and welcoming me back in this way. But it is just ongoing. And it's not going to end until I'm in the ground. You know what I mean? So I'm Functional. That's to answer your question. Functional is my favorite because it's so true and honest. And one of the windows, it's a true ask to be met where I'm at.
Love that.
Yeah, thank you.
So dope. So dope. Does anybody have a question for Nahko? Anybody got a question in the crowd? Anybody? What's up, Talon? Yeah.
Oh yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
face tattoos.
Yeah, the ones on the bra. These ones, it's an old traditional Filipino tattoo that the top line represents the horizon, and the bottom line represents like the ocean or the land, the top line is the sky, the bottom line is the ocean or the land, wherever you're looking at, and the middle line is the horizon, and the ask is for greater vision. And the irony of some of my tattoos, much like songwriting, you'll write a song thinking that it's fully gonna mean, what you're thinking in that moment. And then years later, it comes back to be like, I told you. The same with tattoos. I don't know if anybody else has experienced this before,
Yeah,
a meaning of a tattoo, and then years later you're like, oh, it really means something to me now.
Now, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
It's the same thing.
And so then what about the bee, the bumblebee?
Great question. Great question. Well, I am a bear,
Yeah.
and we must save the bees.
Yeah.
And I love honey.
Yeah.
Honestly, I truly do. I know it's funny, because it is, but I do love honey. And in June of 2020, my buddy, shout out to Bonsai, my buddy and I were talking about making some mead, and he's like, do you want to host bees here on your property? And I thought, well, that could be cool. And so we invited an old fella named Ivon who needed a place to host his bees. and it started out as 7 hives, and it's moved into like 20, 22, 23
All on
hives
your
now.
property?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was crazy because after 4 months of them being there, Oregon was hit by unprecedented fires, and we had to figure out a place to
Move the bees.
move the bees, and by the grace of the creator, we didn't lose a single hive.
Wow.
But I remember asking Ivon when I met him, I was like, yo, he's from Moldova. And I was like, what? I asked him, do you guys have bears in Moldova? And he goes, sorry, my English is not so good. And I said, it's cool, bro, my Russian's horrible. And I said, in fact, let me try to explain to you this. I was like, my name means bear, and I like honey. And he was looking at me and he was like, oh. And then I said, look, I'm so hardcore. Oh my God, I have a bee on my face. That's how much I love the bees. And he looks at my tattoo and he looks at it and he pauses and he's like, maybe. And I was shook because I was like, is it a bad tattoo? Or like, is he being punny?
Ooh.
Maybe. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Maybe.
So, yeah.
Or he was maybe like, maybe you like bees that much, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Because he likes bees a lot.
Yeah. I said, be here now.
Nice.
I said, I'm trying to behave. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
Anybody else? Anybody else got a question for Nahko? Yeah, what's up?
Coming from a couple of theater makers, we're brand new to music today. What pleasure.
Yeah.
I'm really curious, what was the defining moment? I know you mentioned going to the last minute to a dinner show. Awesome. When did you really start to discover like what your voice was going to be and how you would portray the journey that you've kind of gone on since then?
Well,
Yeah, great question. The defining moment of my voice, what was going to be. Honestly, it was more recently than in the past, like long in the past. I kind of jumped on the career touring musician thing on a whim, without much teaching or any advice about what it's gonna look like. And I would say more recently I realized what my voice can really do, and how much I love doing it. Yeah. At the beginning of 2020, I've told this story to you guys before, but I'll share it quickly on the podcast now. But at the end of 2019, the last time our band toured together officially, I was struggling singing, and I went and got it checked out, and it turned out I had a polyp on my vocal cord, and it had been developing over the years.
Hank.
Yes,
Yeah,
Hank
Hank.
Jr. Yeah.
Hank Jr.
I don't know.
It's a big
It
difference.
sounds cool. It puts me in this Hank. And
Yeah.
Anyways.
I got you.
I'm so glad we got to talk. Yeah. It wasn't until then, because I had the surgery. I went into a couple weeks of silence, 6 months to 10 months of vocal rehab. Shout out to Minnie Pack, my amazing vocal coach. And, ironically, that was January of 2020. George Floyd is heinously murdered in July, and shortly after that, I was taken. I thought that I was losing my voice by an online mom, and I was essentially. Now, when things that are traumatic happen to us, it often the defining moment, the aha moment, often doesn't happen until a long time later, or just not in that time frame. And in my experience, that's what happened with this, where a year or so later, I was like, wow, it's so ironic that at a time I thought I was losing my voice, I had actually been given the gift of reclaiming it and been given a new voice. Because what happened with that surgery was it opened up my voice in a way I haven't ever heard it since I was 16 years old. I had my top end finally. I didn't even realize I had a top end like that. And I had to strengthen my low end to really create a fullness of the voice that you hear today. But
that was the defining moment for me. Was when I had the aha moment. And I was like, oh, I get it now. Wow. Yeah.
Sick. Great question.
Yeah, thank you.
Great answer. Nahko, thank you so much for hanging and just
Yeah.
joining us and flying in for this, man.
Oh,
right? Like,
yeah.
dude, thank you so
Thanks
much.
for sending the owl Uber.
Yeah.
You guys don't know, but there's this big ass out, and I'm joking.
Justin has a question.
Oh yeah. What's up?
Don't worry, it's not a wild thing.
It's not a while ago.
Any plans to get the band back together?
Ooh, plans for getting
We're
the band
definitely well
back
now
together.
that the door is opening, in a way, and as a and sort of having putting in the work as a solo artist again. There's definitely conversation happening about putting together events that can work for us as a group because everyone has gone off and started to continue their lives in the pursuits of what makes them happy, and music is always at the core of what these individuals how they maneuver. But I would say it's a conversation that's happening, and we'll see how that blossoms from there. Yeah.
Nice.
So cool. Anything else you want to share with us before we wrap up?
I love you guys so much.
We love you too, Nahko. Come on, let's give it up for Nahko, everybody.
Thank you guys.
An amazing time. Make sure you're following Nahko Bear on Instagram. Make sure you're following him on Spotify, Nahko and Medicine for the People. And you dropped your drink.
I'm just so excited. Thank you for being here, bro.
Thank you.
Hey, this means a lot to me, you guys. I appreciate you very much. That was very
means so
sweet.
much.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Come on, let's give it up one more time. That's a wrap on this episode of the Sugarshack podcast. We love y'all so much. Until next time. Peace.
Go. Sit back, relax, 'cause it's time for another podcast.
Called a Sugar Shack session. It's called a Sugar Shack. Sugar Shack session. Meet me at the Sugar Shack session. Oh, the Sugar Shack session. I'm at the Sugar Shack.